What's up, everybody? It's Oliver at Royalty Pythons, and today, as you can see in the title, we're going to be doing a substrate review. Now, I have 3 substrates that I use or have used for my ball pythons, and we're going to tell you a little bit about them, rate them for you, and hopefully it helps you out later. So, here we go. So this first substrate right here is an organic sphagnum peat moss, which I got from Lowe's. It comes in a big bag, and I think it's for like 20 bucks. So if you're looking for something like good with like cost wise, this is a way to go. It's good for planting. It looks natural, well ground, organic. As you can see, it still has like pieces of bark inside of it. Now, I did like it because of the natural look. Now, if you're looking for something that holds humidity well, this is not the best. I mean, if you use it and you spray it down, it works real good, but it's bad at releasing that humidity, that water, so it'll retain it for a long time. Like I said, it's real good for plants, but it's not so good for like ball pythons or any other snakes. From what I've found with this is that if you mist it lightly, it works good, but if you over mist, it causes problems later. It's not the best, but it is cost efficient if you are using live plants again. So the thing I didn't like about it as much was that, as you can see, is very dusty found ground. So when you drop or whatever, it does put up a good amount of dust, and if you're using tanks, it's going to dust up the sides of your enclosure, so viewing is not the best and it doesn't look as pretty. Another thing I didn't like about it is that because it holds all of that moisture in and doesn't release it as well, it causes some problems later on with your snakes, like scale rot and mouth rot, which I ran into fairly quickly. So I stopped using this. This is just an empty bin that I wasn't using anymore. That still kind of has some in, so I thought I'd use it as just a little reference today before I toss it out. So this is organic sphagnum peat moss from Lowe's. Is very cost efficient, looks natural, but I mean, it gets the job done, especially if you know what you're doing. This one was just more of a experimental for me because it was more organic. So that one I don't recommend using for ball pythons anyway. If you're using for like a drier snake, a drier species, like something different, it would work. But for ball pythons that need high humidity, I wouldn't suggest using this because you'll run into a lot of problems. The substrate I switched to after using this was as you can see in this tank here, was the ZooMed Reptibark, and we'll get to why there's nothing in these tanks over here. But it works good, it holds moisture, but it releases the moisture way too fast for me. So if you're using a glass terrarium or anything like that, it won't hold the moisture the best. So I would recommend using it in like tubs or something like that, to where you know it's going to keep on, that condensation builds up and it works better. What I found is that it doesn't work the best with the heat pad either. It releases that moisture, it doesn't help at all, especially under the hide. Even in a nice hide that covers everything, it's still just released everything and it stays dry. So with that one, you can use it, it works, but it's not cost efficient. It doesn't work if you need a lot. So like two 32 quart, no, 24 quart actually, bags of that is like 60 bucks. So if you're looking for cost efficient, that is not the one to go with. It looks good, it kind of looks natural. I think it works better with other species like You can use it with like anoles, long-tailed lizards, stuff like that. But when it came to the ball python, I don't think that one works. I think the forest floor works a little bit better than that one does. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, if you order it online, the price does drop a little bit. But if you go into like a PetSmart or something, that price is pretty high. So cost efficient is not the best. Now, when we talk about looks, depending, like I said, on the animal and what you're using it for, like if you have live plants or something like that, the looks aren't that good unless you mix it with like some moss or something else that makes it look a little bit better. That can work for you there too. Now, this third one is the one that I use currently at the moment. So I got this from Reptile Basics. I order a lot of stuff from them. This one is called the cocoa chip block. So it comes in 2 blocks, and each block is equivalent to 18 gallons. So I use them in 18-gallon tubs that I got from Meyer and from Walmart, and it works just fine. So this is this one here. Now, the cocoa chip comes in this big compressed brick here, and once you add water, it just, as anything compressed in the brick form, when we go from the reptile world, it just expands and it fills up a nice 18-gallon tub, which works good. Now, this one I do recommend using with the ball pythons. You can use it with any other snake, dry or with a lot of moisture. It holds that heat really good for them, and it holds that moisture. It releases it nice and slow for you, so you don't have to worry about drying out like the reptile bark or the sphagnum peat moss. It holds it really, really good. Now, the look is good. It doesn't smell as bad. Well, you don't really have a smell at all. But what I found with the organic sphagnum peat moss, if you don't get to the substrate before, like in those dark spots when it's not releasing, it does tend to mold a little bit. Now, this one here, from what I've seen so far, it hasn't molded at all. So that's a plus there. I've noticed from switching from the 2 other substrates to this one, my snakes that would go off feed kind of went right back on, and it just keeps them going. I think it's a different smell for them, and I've noticed that they come out and they sit and bask a lot more on top of this substrate rather than just sit in the hide all the time. Now, it doesn't work as good with plants unless you mix it with something else, of course, but when it comes to price-wise, I think 2 of these bags, they send them in 2 from Reptile Basics. It comes in 2 packs, and both packs it costs $44.99, and that's what, 36 gallons. So real good with cost efficiency, and it works to a T. Like, I have 6 snakes right now, and I think I haven't even got through the first brick yet. It works good for, as you can see right here, growing. It works good for animals. It looks good outside if you have like outside plants. If you do indoor plants, it looks real natural. It's good. It holds that humidity. It's organic, eco-friendly. It doesn't really have dust whatsoever, so it doesn't get your hands looking, like this after touching it or anything like that. Well, what I would say is if you're using, it works better in tanks. If you're using like a bin, I would suggest not spraying it as much, because that condensation will just keep going and going and going, and it keeps it constant, but you want to worry about mold and stuff later on. So and then 2, if you got snakes that like to tip their water bowls with this, I recommend getting a nice heavy water dish that can't be moved or tipped, because once they tip it into that, it's going to spike your humidity to a good 80 to 100, and it just keeps going and going. It takes so much to where you have to almost switch out your bedding. So this one I really recommend using for like ball pythons, any species that need high humidity or to maintain the humidity. It works good in the glass terrariums. It works good in tubs if you do homemade tubs. So yeah, these are the substrates I use. This is the one I use and like the most, and I will keep using it. Again, you get it at Reptile Basics, 2 bricks for $44.99. So yeah, check those guys out. I order a lot from them, so we'll get into some other things another time. But again, if you want to see more, like, comment, subscribe, and check those guys out. So this is the cocoa chip block, organic sphagnum peat moss if you're looking for nice plants, and the Zoo Med reptile bark. So again, so like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see, and we'll try to get to that again. So.